Hi friends, Hare Krishna, this is Pooja reciting you question and answers from the Vaishnavas of Iskcon. What philosophical position is the most accepted in the modern science? Can science really explain everything about the world or the existence of the soul? Can modern science explain everything about the world? Haha, modern science has nothing sensible to say about the world, except that it's made out of matter, and how useful is that if a child has just been run over by a car? In fact, the only thing modern science is good for is in making technology. The fundamental aspect of anyone's existence is our conscious experience of the world, and science has nothing sensible to say about consciousness and or the soul. Science is ghastly silent about all and sundry that is really near to our hearts and that really matters to us. It cannot tell us about red and blue, bitter and sweet, beautiful and ugly, good or bad, God and eternity. Science sometimes pretends to answer questions in these domains, but the answers are often so silly that we are not inclined to take them seriously. Said by Erwin Schrödinger, a Nobel Prize winning physicist. Modern science is pure materialism. In modern science, the idea is that empirism is the only valid method of obtaining knowledge, and that, of course, is pure nonsense. The most valid way of obtaining any knowledge is by learning from an authority. Even to become a scientist, you have to study under and learn from another scientist. You don't learn mathematics by empirism, direct sensory experience. You learn mathematics by learning from a mathematician. Direct sensory perception would be more or less useless if we hadn't learned from someone how to process and make sense of the sensory or input. Even the idea that language evolved from some ape, like grunting to reciting Shakespeare, is so ludicrous that it's amazing the majority of people in the global culture believe in it. I mean, how do you make a whole world believe in improbable nonsense? A very effective propaganda machine indeed. In the modern culture, children are brought up to believe that the world has evolved from a heap of chemicals to the complicated world we know today. In the school, children are taught what the present Western civilization is the epitome of all human learning, knowledge and progress. In school, I remember learning about the ancients, the Greeks, the Romans and the Egyptians, Mesopotamia. Never once did we hear so much as one tiny squeak about the Vedic culture, the most ancient, advanced and glorious culture to ever grace the planet. Our teachers neglected to tell us that at the time when people in Europe carried clubs and lived in caves, in the Vedic culture they had already described the advanced mathematics and the universe and its planets in minute detail. Instead, children are taught to believe that before the advent of modern science, people lived in caves in darkness and ignorance, a disease riddled bunch who believed in myths and fairy tales, had wired values, didn't know how proper cleanliness, etc. Modern people are indoctrinated into thinking that the only legitimate way to view and understand the world is through science. In essence, science means empirical knowledge, that is, knowledge based on sensory perception. But who decided that this is the best way to gather knowledge? We get knowledge from other sources as well, like learning from authorities. That's why children go to school, to learn from authorities. In fact, we wouldn't know much at all if someone hadn't taught us to begin with. We wouldn't even know that 2 and 2 is 4 hadn't somebody taught us. We might know that 4 apples is double as many as 2 apples, but if someone hadn't taught us, we wouldn't know the language and the concept of express mathematics. Thus, it is an indisputable fact that knowledge from authority is the most important way of learning anything, exactly as predicted by the Vedic sages who hold that of the different methods of gathering knowledge: pratyaksha, empirism, anumana, inference, and shabda, knowledge from authority. Shabda is the most important, and it holds true whether the subject is spiritual or material. Krishna says, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and is joyfully performed. Thank you, friends. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like the videos so that we all get the science of self-realization and know the absolute truth of God. In service to all, thank you. Hare Krishna.